Hi, welcome back to my channel. So, um, today's video is going to be a Riverdale reaction. Um, like clockwork, I just watched the newest episode titled Destroyer of Riverdale. Um, it is the 24th of March, and this will be out the 25th. I really need to get better at these intros. I suck at them. But also, I my last two Degrassi videos had so many issues with them. Two Degrassi videos ago, so not the last one, but the one before that, I forgot to do, because in every video I have a little opening that says what the title of the video is, and at the end I say to like, comment, subscribe, and then to follow me on TikTok, and then I say bye. Well, two Degrassi videos ago, which was season 13 and 14, characters, I forgot to put those in the video completely. And then in the last Degrassi video, which was next class, season 1 and 3, I had stepped away from the camera and I forgot to cut that out. So I was able to figure out how to cut it out of the video on YouTube. It just hasn't done that yet. But so before we get into the video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video of mine. So it is chapter 85, Destroyer. So we are very close to 100 episodes, 15 more episodes to go. So by the end of the season, it won't get to 100 because this is episode 9 and there's only 10 more episodes left in the season. So episode 5 of season 6 should be the 100th episode, and hopefully they do something special, maybe a Varchi wedding or maybe a Bughead reunion, who knows. But school spirit. After the Bulldogs lose several football games, Archie and Veronica come up with a plan to boost school spirit. Jughead turns his attention to a student who he thinks might need his help. Betty seeks guidance from Cheryl after being faced with a difficult decision to make. Finally, Kevin is forced to face a dark moment from his past. Which these last two things weren't actually, these last two, Betty's with Cheryl and then Kevin, weren't actually big parts in the episode. Betty connecting with Cheryl, that scene was very short, but like that whole storyline was long. But Kevin, it wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. And then I showed these in the last episode, but you can actually see Kevin here in his bulldog outfit, which I talk about instead of his stallions. Also, Toni wasn't in the episode, so I don't know why her picture's there. But yeah, she's not even listed in the main cast for this episode. So that is not from this episode. Um, so, oh, someone comment, glad to see Reggie's back to his bulldog colors. Yeah, me too. I might read those later, but so I did write down everything in the episode, which kind of takes away from me watching the episode, but I try to type really quickly and like I summarized it. I also got a new phone case. It's a darker teal. Because my old one it was fading and my jeans because I when I go to work I wear jeans. I can wear jeans to work, and because it was a light turquoise, it sits in my pocket for like 7 hours, and so it stains it. So it was all stained, and then my screen protector actually had a little crack in it, and so I put a new screen protector on. It has a little bumps in it, but it's better than before. Last time I had a piece of hair on the corner, so we are doing better. So this episode is titled Destroyer, not The Destroyer, which I think would have actually been a better title because it's weird to see just to say Destroyer. But anyway, so it opens up with a Bulldogs game. Actually, it opens up with Betty telling her mom that the Bulldogs game is starting, but it really opens with the Bulldogs game, and the Bulldogs just keep on losing. Like, they just aren't having any luck. But Varchi is still going strong. Now, we know from the last episode, um, they never actually stated if they were in a relationship, but they kissed in this episode. So I'm going with Varchi is back. And so Veronica goes and asks Tabitha if she will sponsor a free dinner at Pops to get people interested in the games because no one is coming to support the Bulldogs. So Tabitha agrees, and they talk about making serve, and Veronica says she has somebody, and so she goes and talks to Cheryl, and Cheryl says no, my vixens aren't even going to perform anymore. And Veronica convinces Cheryl to do it one more time, to let them perform one more time, and then Cheryl agrees to sponsor the maple syrup. But before that, I was thinking Cheryl was a bitch, which I probably shouldn't say on YouTube, but whatever. And then Archie actually on the loudspeaker for the school, he tells everyone that they need to come support the school because it's the right thing to do, and he tells everyone about the free dinner and all that. So Betty gets a call from Glen. Glen calls back, and he tells her that the blood from the at the end of the last episode in the phone booth is Polly's. I think it was AB negative. I think is what the blood type was. And just because it was her blood, they automatically, or just because it was her blood type, they don't even say it was her blood. They said it was her blood type. Doesn't mean she's dead, but that's where they all assume. They just assume she's dead. Now, from watching these shows, I've come to realize that unless we see a body, they ain't dead. I mean, Pretty Little Liars kind of disproved that point as well, though, because like they had a body, it was Bethany's, but everyone thought it was Allison's. So, also, they never really explained where everyone thought Bethany was. Like, she escaped Bradley and just disappeared off the place of the earth. But anyway, going off track. So, they just assumed that Polly is dead. And, um, so Betty starts yelling at Glenn about the fact that he wasn't taking her seriously and that this was her sister and blah, blah, blah. And she yells at him, and I'm just thinking, aren't you dating him? Like, what is going on with that relationship? Like, she's yelling at him, and so we really don't know what that is. So there's this kid in Jughead's class named Lerman. His actual name is Lerman Logan, which I don't know about you, but that name sounds familiar. There's an actor called Logan Lerman. Um, I actually went to school with someone whose name was Logan Furman. But anyway, but why why would you make their last name Logan if there's an actor called Logan Lerman? So weird. But so this kid wrote a short story, and it was actually very disturbing and very similar to the Mothman story that Jughead is writing. And Jughead wants to know if there's anything going on in his home life, like is he abused because of what he's writing? Because what Jughead has learned is that these aliens are attracted to trauma or whatever. I can't really keep up with this alien storyline. It's really weird. But Lerman says nothing's wrong, everything's fine. And apparently, Weatherby has talked to the parents before because he assumed that he was being abused because he had broken bones and blah 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 blah. Um, but they are the nicest parents. So then they're at the free breakfast at Pops, and Reggie shows up, and Reggie says he was sent by the board or whatever, and he has to convince the Bulldogs to willingly drop out of the league. And he's actually being a real jerk about it. I wrote that Reggie's a jackass in this, and like I'm thinking he went to Riverdale High. He was a Bulldog, so why is he so keen on helping the Stallions? He hated the Stallions when he went to Riverdale because he knew that they were playing dirty. There was a whole episode about it, which is why Betty joined the quiz team, and then again she was forced to forfeit. So then it turns out that Kevin is actually moving out of his loft with out of his apartment that he shares with Toni and Fangs. It really, in the last episode, it really like didn't conclude if him and Frank broke up, and it's still not clear in this episode. But something that wasn't really clear in the last episode is who is the father of Toni's baby? Because now it's making it seem like, because they're breaking up, now it's making it seem like, well, in the last episode, it made it seem like they talked about it and she decided to be their surrogate and that one of them is the father of the baby. But in this episode, it makes it seem like she got pregnant and then they offered to be the father to the baby and that they would parent together. And basically, they're the adoptive father. So, who is the biological father of this child? Or did she decide to have a baby and actually used one of them because she knew she had a medical condition? It's all very unclear. Veronica goes to visit Hiram and they do a wager. So Veronica says that if the Bulldogs lose, if the Bulldogs, well, actually, if the Bulldogs don't score at all, then they will willingly drop out of the league. But if the Bulldogs score, it doesn't say they have to win, it just says they have to at least score once, that Hiram will get the board to back off and will get will tell the governor to support Riverdale High. And Hiram probably would keep this wager because he thought he was gonna win. So yeah. So Betty goes to talk to Cheryl, and basically the whole scene that was in the description is Betty asked Cheryl if before she knew, because Jason was just missing for a month, I think, because he was found before homecoming, which would have been about October, and he was found during the back to school dance, so he was missing for about a month. Um, so Betty asked Cheryl if if after he was found, if she felt better, and Cheryl says that she could actually finally grieve once he was found, and she says that knowing that he was dead was better than not knowing where he was. But Cheryl thought he had just Cheryl didn't. But the thing is, I guess they forgot that Cheryl thought that he was still alive during that whole time, while everyone else thought he was missing. Cheryl thought he was still alive. But anyway, so Betty and Cheryl actually hug because Betty tells Cheryl about the blood and everything. And this is the first time where I like Cheryl. I mean, I always liked Cheryl, but so Varchi is engaging in some dirty deeds. Just kidding. Um, we actually don't see that happening, but they are both naked in bed, so we assume. So Betty comes home and Alice is kind of in a trance, like she's just has a dead look on her face, and so Betty is about to tell her the truth, but then Betty actually lies about the blood and says that it was O positive, which wasn't Polly's blood. And I know why she did it, because Betty wanted to hope that there was, well, Betty wanted her mom to still have hope, and because they could still find her. So apparently Lerman told his parents about Jughead talking to him, and they are furious and say that they don't want Lerman to be taught by Jughead because Jughead is telling these stories. And he's an English teacher. It's all about storytelling. But so Cheryl decides that she needs to fix things between Kevin and Fangs because I think what Toni said to her at the party really clicked. And because it was her party that did this. Also, we don't know whatever happened to Minerva. But anyway, so she sits Kevin and Banks down and says they need to talk. And so Banks starts assuming things about Kevin, and like he says that you don't you're not comfortable being gay. And I'm thinking Kevin was the only openly gay guy at Riverdale High until Fang showed up, and their relationship was really weird because he was with Midge. So is Fang's just bisexual, or is he actually gay? Guess we'll never know. But so Kevin ends up leaving because he doesn't like to people making assumptions. So I'm thinking, Kevin, what is wrong with you? That's what I wrote. Kevin, what is wrong? Something is definitely going on in Kevin's life. So, so to get the Bulldogs to, want to play because they lost their star player to Stonewall, and Archie knows why he left, and he thinks it was the right move because then he'll get recruited for college. But Veronica actually ends up bringing T Dubs, which I have no idea if that's a real football player. Let me know in the comments. Um, to kind of help get recruits. So then they get a whole bunch of football recruits, so they'll be able to play. So Reggie tells, so Hiram is trying to get Reggie to kind of like beat Riverdale, and I don't really know what Hiram wants him to do. I mean, we know from experience that Stonewall plays dirty, but now they have a former Riverdale student that probably won't play dirty. But anyway, so Reggie says that he won't play dirty and they're gonna beat them fair and square. But Hiram then decides that he's gonna bench Reggie because he doesn't like that Reggie isn't taking his advice, like he's standing up to him. So Reggie says that he will be in the stands with the Bulldogs, cheering them on. Good job, Reggie. I really hope he switches sides and he becomes a true Riverdalian again. So my favorite part of the whole episode, Jughead and Betty are back at it again. So Betty is telling Jughead about the blood and everything, and so Jughead tells her that he knows someone from the Lonely Highway who's kind of crazy. So they go and they talk to Old Man Dreyfus, and he says that Polly was abducted by aliens. And by the look on Betty's face, you can tell that she thinks this man is hella crazy. She is. It also looks like they rode together on the back of Jughead's motorcycle, which, that was their thing. But the scene where I thought Betty was kind of yelling at him, she isn't yelling. She's just saying that she wasn't abducted by aliens and blah, blah, blah. So Kevin actually is in the steam room and he's talking to this guy, and the guy seems to be flirting, and Kevin starts to touch him, and the guy gets freaked out and decides that, well, first he says a few choice words and then decides that the best thing to do is to beat Kevin up. So Kevin is gay bashed. Also, Dark Betty is back. Betty goes on a mission, and she goes to a couple of truckers and kind of like beats them up, tells them not to prey on these girls, and then she finds that one trucker that she talked to earlier about Polly, and she's about to shoot him. Like, what? But Jughead calls just in time, and Betty decides that she needs to go with Jughead, and she says that she'll send someone to untie him if she remembers. But I'm thinking, what are you doing? But we'll get back to that in a second. So Kevin is talking to Tom, and this is one of the most beautiful talks between a parent and their child on this show ever. It reminds me of the talks between Archie and Fred all those years ago, but it's between Kevin and Tom. And Tom has never really understood Kevin. They bonded mostly over wrestling because we knew that, and being in the ROTC. But he never understood why Kevin couldn't find a nice guy. So Kevin admits that he is ashamed of himself for being gay. And Tom is like, did I never made you believe that, did I? And Kevin's like, no, mom did. So this is the first time he's mentioned his mom really. Like we heard him talk about her a couple of times when Tom was getting a divorce. Also, I want to know if he's still married to Sierra. Probably though, because Kevin visited Josie in New York. But I hope we see Josie again. Um, but apparently, this happened years ago. But he was back to school shopping with his mom, which most likely would have been before the start of the show. So even either before the start of his sophomore year or the start of his freshman year. But what happens after this makes it seem like he's a lot older. Um, so his mom made a comment of having to buy him Husky, which I don't really understand what that comment has to do with being gay, but apparently it hurt him, and so he said that he was meaning Betty, but instead he went to Fox Forest, which at the time he didn't know that it was used for cruising. So it makes it seem like this was before he came out to his family, or so yeah, it was before he came out. So it must have been he could have been in middle school, but um, so he meets this guy who convinces him to be true to himself or something, and so he tells his dad that that is why he cruises. And then Tom hugs Kevin, which was super sweet. So back to Betty shooting this guy because these scenes were going together. Um, I wrote down Betty has lost her mind. Like she was gonna shoot a guy. She's in the FBI. She would have she one she would have been arrested, and two she would have lost her or one she would have lost her job, like her title, and two she would have been arrested. But so now we're at the game, and Reggie is back in his Riverdale jacket in the stands. So like even though he was the coach for Stonewall Prep, he kept his Riverdale jacket, so that must mean something. So it turns out so the reason Jughead called Betty is it turns out that Lerman is missing, and he might be on the lonely highway, and so they find Lerman and all that. I hope Betty. I keep on calling her Polly for some reason. I hope Betty ends up telling Jughead that she almost killed a guy, but it turns out that Lerman is a sleepwalker, and he hasn't done it for years. And they thought the reason they got so mad at Jughead is they thought that the stories would trigger it. And one time he went sleepwalking and was missing for a week, and they found him on the lonely highway. Um, and his story was true. He is locked in the room. They lock him in his room at night so that he won't run off. He has the whole basement to himself. So Betty starts to wonder if these two cases are related. If Lerman was somehow kidnapped for a week by the same person who kidnapped Polly, but then why would they let Lerman go? So Betty and Jughead are talking at Pops, and this brought back so many old memories, even though it's literally like last season. But them being the Nancy Drew crew, that's just it. I watch Nancy Drew as well, the show, but I was wondering if Jughead and Betty would start investigating together, which seems like they're going to because it seems like their two things are kind of related. Because if we remember, they started investigating the Jason Blossom murder together, and then they started dating. So I think they're going to start investigating together and then get back together. So we're back at the game, and Cheryl ends up performing because she wants to come out of retirement because everyone wants to see her. I'm thinking, Cheryl, you're not in high school anymore. Move on. Um, so the Bulldogs end up scoring the last goal of the night. So that means that Veronica won the wager. And when they score, Reggie looks happy. And I thought at the end of the episode he would end up going up to Archie and asking to co-coach, but that didn't happen. So hopefully soon, hopefully he like nips the stallions in the butt and tells Hiram that he's done. Um, so Jughead finds out that the Logan family has left Riverdale, and I don't blame them after everything that has happened. Um, so Glenn apparently showed up at Betty's house. I don't know how he found her address, but he showed up at Betty's house, and Alice is crying, and Alice gets so mad at Betty for lying to her because apparently Glenn told her the truth, and Glenn's mad at Betty for lying to her own mother. Like, she didn't have to tell her mother the truth because they don't know that Polly's dead. So Glenn says that he will be taking over the case, and Betty's like, no, this is my case, it's my sister, and Glenn apparently now is all involved in the case. I don't know if it's because Betty yelled at him and he thinks he's gonna lose her, but I don't like Glenn. I really don't. And it's not because she's dating. He's dating Betty. I don't actually know what they are, and I don't hate him like I hate Chad. Chad I don't like because he's, you know, but Glenn I don't like. I don't hate him because he's with Betty. I hate Chad, one, because he's with Veronica, two, because he's a horrible person. I don't hate Glenn because he's with Betty. I hate him because he's kind of sketchy. And I read some theories, and that I completely agree with. The theories which kind of state that he is the one kidnapping girls, or he is the BTK killer, or TBK, or not BTK, that's killer, I think, but he is the trash bag killer. People believe that he is the trash bag killer. Now, I personally believe that the trash bag killer and the lonely highway killer are the same person. It kind of doesn't make any sense for how young he is, because the lonely highway killer seems to have been killing people for years. But so honestly, I don't think the lonely highway killer and the Mothman are the same people. But I do think that Glenn is somehow one of these serial killers. I do think that he is somehow related to serial killers because of how quickly he decided that he wanted to, you know, help the Cooper family find Polly. But yeah, I don't like Glenn. I think he's a serial killer because Betty needs more serial killers in her life. Then maybe Jughead will help her. Now, in the next episode, it looks like Jughead and Tabitha kiss, but that's just a thing. But I will be reacting to that video tomorrow, or the trailer, the promo. So the next episode is called The Pincushion Man. Interesting name. Parent teacher night. While preparing for the school's parent teacher night, Archie is caught off guard when his former army general shows up in Riverdale with some unexpected news. Cheryl pushes back after hearing that Hiram and Reggie have expressed interest in taking over the Blossom Groves. So maybe Reggie does go back to Hiram, but I hope eventually he leaves. Jughead's unconventional way to get through a case of writer's block causes Tabitha to be concerned for his safety. Finally, Betty and Alice receive some unexpected visitors. Who? Who was unexpected? I want to know. I must know. Um, so, next week is going to be a little different, or maybe a little different. The week after that, definitely. So let me explain what's going to happen. So, next week is the last episode of Riverdale until the hiatus. So Riverdale won't come back until July 7th. Now people don't understand why, and people are getting really upset. Like, why is it 3 months? Like, honestly, it's because they're showing a new show, but I think mainly it's because um Vanessa Morgan went on maternity leave and she's a main character, and they probably didn't want to cut her out for a lot of episodes. So they're taking a longer hiatus than normal um, to accompany her because they probably haven't filmed episodes for a couple months. But anyway, so next week I will do my Riverdale reaction, and I might at the end of that video talk about what I hope is to come in the season and what I hope to see in season 6, because they have been renewed for season 6, as we know. But that will be posted next Thursday. Next Friday, I have no idea, because sometimes when shows go on hiatus, they don't do a after the last episode before the hiatus airs, they don't do a promo for the next episode or the next couple episodes. So they might not have a promo after next week's episode. So if they don't, I won't be posting a promo video on Friday. Um Now, if they if they do have a promo, I would do it. But if they don't, I will either do a cast video for the Sims 4 cast video, or a whole new video called House Flipper. So I'm really excited. And then the week after that, Thursday is going to be a nostalgic games video, and then Friday is going to be Degrassi Guys season 2 and season 3. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Press that notification bell so you never miss a video. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.